Golly gosh, we're up to episode 9, nearly double digits. Quarantine is going great for everybody, I think. Just being locked inside. We won't hesitate anymore and just jump straight into it. Just a little observation. I really love their background music. One of the great points I loved about season 2. Background music.
I'm Max's cousin. Max decided at the very last minute to start a term earlier at the French Writing College, so...
And just for some reason, like, I get Facebook and all this didn't exist in 2002. I understand that. But not one person did Max tell who could spread the word saying, like, hey guys, I'm going a month early, my cousin's gonna step in. He just left that to for everyone to find out on the spot. It's not like he packed his bag and jumped on a plane the night before. This would have been planning to do, and he didn't tell one single person to just spread the word, to be like, hey, I'm going away for a little bit, a little earlier than expected. My cousin's coming in. Not one person knew? Maybe he did jump on the plane the night before. Who knows?
So, who will be taking the lessons?
As you know, Red has just completed his instructor training, so he'll be managing that department.
So, things will just carry on as normal?
Unless I can see something that could be improved. I've just finished a degree in business management.
So that would make him roughly 23, 24. Wow.
So I'll change what needs to be changed from a business point of view. In fact, that's one of the reasons why Max asked me here.
Why are they just so, ooh, things are changing, Drew? It's like, he's changing a business point of view. He's not redesigning the stables or anything.
Drew seemed very nice. He sounded better educated than Max.
That's because he is educated. Max kind of, I'm going to assume, left school to take care of his father's business, while Drew went to uni to do a business management degree. It's because Drew is educated and knows what he is talking about.
Max should have a look at Pepper. He's not himself.
Not Max, Drew.
Oh yeah.
Seriously, you were just talking about Drew. Have you really forgotten about him that quickly?
I'd say that's the problem. He's 28.
So, what will happen to him, Drew?
He'll be put out to pasture for a while until...
Until what?
Until he has to be put down.
Okay, I understand they're so depressed and whatnot, but Pine Hollow is a business. There's no point getting the farrier, the vet, the dentist to come out every so often to take care of a horse that isn't bringing in money. What's the point of having a school horse if no one can ride him? Like, I understand there's feelings and emotions. Unfortunately, it's just a fact of life. If the horse isn't giving anything back in return, it's just a waste of life to have them waste their life away. If Pepper could somehow be ridden, then it would be okay, but the fact that Pepper's old, he's lethargic, and just can't be ridden anymore, it's just life now.
That's not fair, Stevie. It was going to happen anyway.
Yeah, well, Christy made sure it happened sooner rather than later.
Come on, everybody. It's nobody's fault. It's just the way things are.
You have to do something. I bet you...
You can't do anything, Lisa. There's no, like I've said, there's no point spending money on like a physio and a vet and farrier and all these things to rehabilitate a horse that just can't handle life anymore, you know. He can't handle being work like he used to. He just can't handle all that. Unfortunately, it's just the way horses are. Anyone will tell you that there's no point keeping a horse around if they can't give you anything in return.
It would be different if Max was still here.
That's not true. Pepper's a working horse who can't work anymore. That's what happens.
Knock knock. Anyone home?
Nope, we're just all in this room, invisible. You can't see us, no one's here.
My name's Bud. G'day. Deborah told me I should come down and introduce myself.
Bud's gonna stay a few days. If you have any questions about anything to do with horses, fire away.
Yeah, well, I've been a jockey, I've been a blacksmith, a cartwright.
You're too tall to be a jockey, I'm sorry. There are big restrictions to be a jockey. There is no way you've been a jockey. You may be involved with jockeys somehow, but I highly doubt you were a jockey.
Well, I started working here at Pine Hollows over 50 years ago as a kid. And on and off since then. Well, I taught Max and Drew how to ride. I met Pepper's poor old mum, Licorice, well, over 30 years ago. She had a tough time foaling. I spent most of the night with her. Oh, I must say hello.
And they all came out for Bun to say hello to Pepper. Just they all walked out, be like, yeah, let's all watch Bob say hi to Pepper.
Drew?
Yes.
Carol. If we take turns riding Pepper, we promise to nurse him along. And that way Pepper will last for years.
It'll work, Drew, we promise.
You're not gonna make this easy for me, are you?
We've thought the whole thing through, Drew.
You're 13, you got school commitments, which you never seem to be out for some bizarre reason. Something tells me this plan is not going to work longer than a week.
It was just so mean of Stevie to say it was my fault.
A new low, even for the Saddle Club. In fact, this whole place is going downhill lately. Max taking off without warning.
School horses getting old.
And strange old men wandering around.
We should just get...
Strange? I'm sorry, Veronica, but he's not a stranger to Pine Hollow. He may be a stranger to you, but he is a family friend of the Regnerys, making him not a stranger to Pine Hollow. In fact, he was friends with Max's father and actually taught Max and Drew to ride. He's just a stranger to you. He's not a stranger to Pine Hollow. Red is the head stable hand. Red does not have time to chop wood, regardless if it's in his lunch break. This would not have taken an hour. He'll walk in and he'll have tasks 10 pages long to do. He doesn't have time to do this.
It's just my bad luck. I can't be there tomorrow.
Nice one, Phil.
We've lost a stable hand across county, so the rest of us have to pitch in.
Have you guys looked in the mirror lately?
Somebody needs a shower.
I am with Veronica and Christy on this. You would think that they would have showered before coming to JB's. So I don't know why they didn't clean up before coming to JB's, because it's just making a scene. I am with Veronica and Christy on this one.
No deodorant will stand up to 4 hours of wood chopping.
4 hours, exactly. Red does not have that time to give up when he is head stable hand and Max is gone. So there's extra things for him to do. Plus he's now riding instructor. He's got lessons to do. He doesn't have time to chop wood. What was he going on about? He should have been back at Pine Hollow.
Drew, now that we've saved you all that money, does that mean Pepper's going to be okay?
You saved him on one expense. There are other expenses needed for Pine Hollow. You have to save him probably $300. You know, there's other things needed to run a business. Running a business is not cheap.
Veronica, let me ask you something. Bud wants to stay at Pine Hollow, but because of lack of money, he has to go back to the city. Fair?
To be fair, living in the city would be more expensive than living in the country. Have you not been to any city? You go to London and it's more expensive than any suburb. You go to Melbourne, Sydney, Queensland, anywhere. It will be more expensive in the city. Being out in the country, in an isolated area, is more cheaper than being in the city. What you're saying doesn't make any sense.
And after a lifetime of being a good, faithful horse, Pepper has just given the brush off? Fair?
Unfortunately, that is just a reality, okay? Unfortunately, Pepper is a school horse, and if he can't provide that, nobody wants to keep him around, so he just wastes time and money. Why would they send the farrier out every 6 weeks to do his feet if he's not going to be used? Why send the dentist out every 6 months if he doesn't need it? You know, unfortunately, it's just life. If you run a business, it is just life. Every horse has a lifetime of being great and faithful. But unfortunately, if they can't provide the service that they're required to do, there's no point keeping them around. It's just a fact of life.
I didn't say it was fair, it's just reality.
Thank you, Veronica. Like, I don't understand why some people just, because we're supposed to love and worship the Saddle Club, blah, blah, blah. Everything Veronica says is just going in one ear and out the other and being a bully. But what she is saying is absolutely right. It's not fair, it's a reality. Run a business yourself, girls, and you tell me that when a horse becomes 28 and can't work anymore, that you would keep them and love them and have them hanging around. It's not as easy as that.
The old cottage in Linus Creek. Bud could live there. But it's too old and dilapidated. That's what they said about the wagon. Who owned it? The rich guy with the Angora stud.
Mr. Lomax.
Let's call him and see what the rent is.
To be fair, a businessman, like rich businessman like this Mr. Lomax, is going to give a different quote depending on who rings. If you were 13 and rang up and asking for a quote, it's going to be different to if someone else rang up asking for a quote. I can see that coming.
Because Bark looks like a hack, and you look like an amateur. Here, I'll show you how it's done. I'm pulling his head high.
I mean, a mare? My parents knew I wanted a stallion.
And he's looking good.
I mean, a mare? My parents knew I wanted a stallion.
A horse judges distance better if it sets its head one way and then another. I won the Grand National this way. But that's another story.
Well, yes. Thank you so very much. I spent 2 weeks in France at Monsieur Louverture's school.
And didn't you say he was an amateur? Agreeing with Dorothy? He was very amateur? Are we forgetting that? Even Dorothy said he wasn't very good. Why are you bragging about it now?
If we could scrape together a month's rent.
But Bud doesn't have a job, remember?
One thing at a time.
Hey, we could chop more wood and sell it for rent money.
Yeah.
Tim's timber yard buys wood. Let's go.
How do you have all these places at the top of your head? Like, I would not be able to think of timberwood that quickly unless I had researched it and had it in the back of my mind prior. They know Mr. Lomax, they know Tim's Timberwood, they know all these places and people's names at the top of their head. This is amazing. Like, they could have just said, oh, let's research who buys firewood or something. But the fact they just know at the top of their head, this is not realistic.
The old guy's right, isn't he?
Yeah. Garnet's more confident if I don't pull his head up.
I mean, a mare? My parents knew I wanted a stallion.
I can see straight through you, Veronica.
X-ray vision eyes. You play too many computer games.
I thought what you did just then for Bud was real nice.
How did he know that it was for Bud? Did Stevie, Carol, and Lisa tell him, oh, Mr. Lomax will let us have the cottage? How did he know it was for Bud? Unless people talk, which I'm assuming they do, but it just wouldn't make any sense, assuming it's only happened within a few hours of each other. And he's been at work and the girls have already been going down to chop firewood. I don't know how it's all been cross-communicated.
Your point being, how good is someone who scored the cottage rent-free with one phone call?
I would call that, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Like, put it this way. If you go for a job interview, you could have qualifications of degrees. You could be the most educated person there is. But you know, you're not going to get the job because Sally knows David. It's not what you know, it's who you know. That's life, it's unfair. Unfortunately, that's the way it's going to be. Finn, stop! Oh my god, that dog is stupid.
Been doing chores across county until we get a replacement stable hand.
You need a stable hand across county?
I told you we did.
What?
Oh, so that bit of information didn't go through your brain, but all the other people, Mr. Tim Limberwoods and Mr. Lomax, all that was just in the back of your mind. But Phil's conversation wasn't.
Could you do me a favour?
Sure, bud.
Well, I figured I might get a bit lonely up at that cottage up Miners Creek. Would you consider giving me old Pepper for company?
Why, sure, bud. You're very welcome to him. If that's alright with you girls.
Of course.
I mean, it's either that or he's going to horse heaven otherwise. So I think they would rather him go with Bud. Otherwise he's going to horse heaven.
Aren't you? But that's another story.
Another episode done and dusted. If you did like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and also please do subscribe for more. And please do sign the petition that I have linked in the description box below. I am trying to get the unreleased music from season 2 and season 3 released. So far there's 14 of us who have signed the petition, which is great. I love that. the fact that there is 14 people who can't go their lives without hearing this music. I bought the Saddle Club Season 3 DVDs and they advertised on it. So, you know, full version of the song on the album Riding High, full version of the song on the album High Horse or Horsepower, whatever it was, can't remember. But yeah, what's the point of teasing with that if you won't even give it to us? So if you can follow us, and if you do know someone who is involved in the show in any way, whether it be a showrunner, show producer, horse handler, an extra or what, yeah, just to help us out. And I will see you next time in the next episode. Bye guys.